Hey guys, great morning to you. Terrific Tuesday. I hope you really got it in yesterday, Monday. Today I'm going to talk about the five profit centers of real estate and why I think real estate is five times better than other investments. But I just wanted, I had a quick couple thoughts. How many of you started this whole project, which was your 2025 goals, and didn't even finish that project? You didn't even go through writing out what your goals were, and they're not anywhere. And it's only January 14th here, which is my belated father's birthday. Happy birthday, Daddy. Um, so, if you started those goals and didn't complete them, what are you going to do with the rest of your year? So, I'll get more into that later in a different daily nugget, but think about it. If you didn't finish your goals and they're not complete, you're not even working, you're drifting. Um, Okay. Five profit centers of real estate. So usually when I'm coaching somebody, that wants to invest in real estate, we get to this point where I explain why well, I love real estate. That's why I'm a real estate doctor. So number one is cash flow. Everybody knows that. Everybody says, oh, but I don't know that everybody knows what cash flow is. So cash flow is you buy a property, you rent it out, but after all your expenses, you still have money. So we're talking rent minus management fees, minus vacancy, minus repairs, minus a mortgage, minus property taxes, insurance, condo fees, everything. You still have a profit. So that's what cash flow is. And that's why a lot of people buy real estate. And that's why a lot of you are interested in real estate. It's a great reason to invest in real estate. However, it's not the only one. Number two is equity growth. Now, equity growth is not the same as appreciation. Equity growth is, you bought a property. Let's say you bought a property for 100,000 because I like that number, and you put $100,000 mortgage on it, right? Equity growth is most mortgages in the United States have 30-year mortgages, and you're paying principal and interest. Interest doesn't pay down your debt, but the principal does. And in the beginning, it's very little, but it is something. So equity growth is if you borrowed 100,000 for that property, as you have a tenant and they pay you rent and you pay the mortgage. So basically your tenant is paying the mortgage. It's it's lowering the amount of your debt on that property. So you won't, 5 years from now, maybe you're still going to owe $94,000, but 6,000 of that debt was paid by the tenant, and the interest was all paid by the tenant, which you deduct. So this was actually, I think I mentioned this a couple of times, one of the reasons why I bought real estate initially. In my 20s, I knew even then, I mean, we've known, we're not going to be able to live off Social Security and Medicare, the younger you are. So I said, how can I make myself a pension? And I figured, you know what? I'll buy some property, and even if it broke even, it would be paid off in 30 years, and I can just collect it as a pension. I didn't know all these other wonderful reasons to invest in real estate. All right, tax advantages. Now I have a whole set of tax advantages, and maybe I'll do that for a different day. But especially if you're American, there are amazing tax advantages to invest in real estate, and that can be a more than a daily nugget. So I'll get into that another day. But there's tons of tax advantages. Appreciation. Now, appreciation really, in my career of investing in real estate, which has been 27 years, I haven't seen appreciation. You know, um, maybe I differ. Maybe I thought I saw appreciation. We used to be like, well, let's assume the property is going to appreciate 3% a year. But is that appreciation or is that inflation? So anyway, appreciation really, how I define it is, you bought a property, it's in a C neighborhood, it's next to an A neighborhood. Suddenly they build a Whole Foods and the neighborhood's change, and you got a bunch of, and this is what I say when you're investing in cities and stuff like that, follow the hippies, the gays, and the students, and the Whole Foods and the this and the that. So when they start putting those neighborhoods do change, and people will pay more money to live in those neighborhoods than they did before. That is true appreciation, not inflation, which inflation, you could say real estate, I used to say real estate is a hedge against inflation, meaning, you're losing money. Let me just explain inflation for those that don't know what inflation is. Um, Inflation is basically the purchasing power of your dollar or whatever money you use goes down. So, I have a dollar, I can buy eggs with $1 today. In 5 years, I need $1.50 to buy the same eggs. We've all seen this through COVID. And this doesn't happen because things go up in value or cost more. It really happens because the governments are messing around with our money, and they're increasing the denominator of all the money flow, which lowers the value of your money. So you have no control over this, right? But this has been happening. It's going to continue to happen. It might even, you can get into hyperinflation. So what happens is, now you need to, let's say eggs went up 50% in the last 5 years. Did you get a raise at your job, or did your business make 50% more money in the last 5 years? If not, you lost money. You lost wealth. And where did it go? Basically, the government took it by printing money. So when all those people are like, yeah, let's raise the debt ceiling and who cares how much money we spend, this is a result of that. Now, the beauty is if you have assets or real estate, it goes up with inflation. So when you say a hedge against inflation, what that means is you don't lose on that. So if the eggs went up 50%, I'm pretty damn sure that the real estate went up 50%. When they talk about inflation, and when inflation was high, they were saying it's 7, 8%. Well, that's an average of a bunch of things. Real estate in those years was 20%, 30%. So I've actually, you could either say hedged or made the most wealth recently from inflation. Property that I owned in 2020, is almost 100% more than what it was like. If it was worth $100,000 in 2020, it could be worth $200,000. A lot of them, even more than that, in the last 5 years. Where are you going to make 100% of your money basically doing nothing? And you didn't really make it. It was inflation. But guess what? You can cash that money out. It's real money. So these are 5 ways that you make money in real estate, and I love it. Now, stocks, I just want to mention, they also go up with inflation and this, that, and the other thing. So they're also, any kind of asset is an inflation hedge. But what's great about real estate, it's an asset, it's a hard asset, it's an inflation hedge, it goes up with inflation, and it's paying you, and your tenants are paying down your mortgage. So those are 5 profit centers of real estate. Hope that helps you guys on today's Daily Nugget. Have the best day of your life. Thanks, guys.